Hello dear students, how are you? I wish all of you will be healthy and safe. So students, in this video you are going to learn about MySQL. Okay? As you know, MySQL is a freely available open source relational database management system. MySQL is an RDBMS, relational database management system. Means it is a software that is used to manage the database. Okay? And it uses structured query language. Okay, using SQL, you operate MySQL. Okay, so MySQL database system refers to the combination of MySQL server and MySQL database. Basically, MySQL is the combination of MySQL server and MySQL database. It is a multi-user database system, means many people can work on it at a time. Means many users can access the database simultaneously. At a time, many users can use MySQL. Okay. So what a server? A server, it listens the client's request, okay, coming in over the network and access the database contents according to those requests and provides that to the client. Basically, client send the request to server and server provide the response according to their request. Which type of request? Based on database. Okay. So clients are the programs that connect to the server and issues queries in a specified format. So clients are basically the programs. Okay. According to these programs, server provide the response. Okay. So what are the advantages of MySQL? It's a speed. If your hardware is optimal according to requirement or your hardware is high configuration, so MySQL runs very fast. Okay. Ease of use. So MySQL high performance, relatively simple database. So as you work on it, if you learn how to work in SQL, so you will learn easily working over MySQL. Okay. So cost, it is available free of cost. Okay. It's the open source database. You can download MySQL using searching on Google. Okay. So query language support. So it supports SQL language. So MySQL understand the standard based SQL. Okay. Portability means the programs written in MySQL you can port on any operating system. So it has been tested with a broad range of different compilers and can work on many different platforms. Okay, that's why it is portable. Data types, it provides many data types to support different types of data. In the later session, we will discuss about different data types available in SQL. Okay, security, it offers a privileged password system. Okay, that is very flexible and secure. Okay, whenever you open MySQL, it will ask for the username and password. So that's why it is secure. And the connectivity, so clients can connect to MySQL server using several protocols. Okay, so it provides the connectivity also. So all these are the advantages of MySQL. Okay, you can call it SQL as well as SQL also. Okay, why we are calling it SQL? Where previously it was known as SEQL, Standard English Query Language. That's why we call it SQL. But now its name is SQL, Standard Query Language. Okay, so you can call it SQL as well as SQL. Okay, so what is SQL? It is a language that enables you to create and operate relational database. Okay, if you want to work on, basically MySQL is the software and SQL is the language. Okay, so relational, which are sets of related information stored in the table. So what is relational database? In relational database, your data is stored in the form of tables. Okay, so this language is used to interact with database. Means all SQL statements are instructions to the database only. So in SQL, your statements and instructions are only for database. Okay, and it differs from general purpose language like C, C++, Java, Python, etc. So it is totally different from these type of language. So SQL is totally for database. Okay, so classification of SQL statements. So SQL commands are classified into four categories: DDL, data definition language; DML, data manipulation language; DCL, data control language; and TCL, transaction control language. So what does so we'll discuss all these commands one by one. So DDL, data definition language. So data definition language actually consists of the SQL command that can be used for define the database schema. Okay, so why do we use a DDL command? To define the database schema. Okay, basically it is used, it is used to, what do you mean by schema? Schema means structure. So DDL commands are used to define the database structure. So what is the structure? So before uh, entering the information in the database, first of all, you have to create the table and you have to create the structure of the table. So all these things will be done with the help of DDL command. Okay. So it simply deals with the description of database schema and it's used to create and modify the structure of the database objects. Okay, database objects like table, indexes, views, etc. Okay, later on we will discuss about all these commands in detail. So these are few examples of DDL commands, just like create is used to create the object, drop is used to delete the object, alter is used to modify the structure of the database object, and truncate is used to remove the records from the table. Okay, and comment, as you know, comment is used to add comments to the data dictionary. Okay, so rename is used to change the name of the existing object. Okay, so all these are the few examples of DDL commands. And DML, data manipulation language. So DDL command is used to define and modify the structure of the database. But here the DML command are used to manipulate the data. Okay, so SQL command that deals with the manipulation of data present in the database belong to DML or data manipulation language. So few examples are just like insert. So insert command is used, as the name suggests, insert command is used to add a new record into a table. Okay, so update will change the data in your table. Okay, and delete is used to remove the data from your table. Okay, so next one is Dcl command, data control language, includes such as grant and revoke. If you want to give the rights to access the database, you will use grant command, and if you want to withdraw the rights to a particular user, then you will use a revoke command. Okay, so grant will access the privilege to database and revoke withdraw users access privileges within the using command. Okay, so grant will give the rights to the user and revoke is used to withdraw the rights to the user. Okay, now Tcl command. So Tcl command, transaction control language. Okay, deals with the transaction within the database. Okay, so commit. So commit a transaction means suppose you have done the transaction and if you do not want to modify it, so in this case you will use the commit command. So after commit the transaction, no one can modify the data. And rollback transaction in case of any error. If you input any wrong data, so in this end, if you want to roll back it, if you want to it works like a control plus z command. Okay, the rollback save point at a save point within a transaction. Okay, save point when if you have a lot of commands and if you want to set a save point, so using save point command you can set a flag. Okay, in your program. Okay, set transaction specify the characteristics of the transaction. So we will discuss about these commands in detail in the later session. Okay, so now next one is some SQL elements. Okay, I think there is no need right now. Some SQL elements. So MySQL implementation of SQL has certain elements that play an important role. So as you know, to learn any language, you have to learn some the elements of that particular language. So in SQL, some elements are like literals, data types. Okay, data types, nulls, and comments. So what are literals? So literal refers to a fixed value, just like a constant on values. Okay, it may be of any character or numeric value. So all character literals are enclosed in single quotes or double quotes. Numbers are not enclosed in quotes. Suppose you want to add a number. So in this case, there is no need to write down the single quotes or double quotes, just like a Python. Okay, if you have a value in the form of string or tag, so in this case, you have to use single quotes or double quotes like this. Okay, just we use in Python. Okay, so data types. So data types are meant to identify the type of data. So MySQL uses different types of data types like numeric data type. As you know, the numeric data types are used to store the numeric value. So MySQL provides the different types of data types, just like integer, tiny integer, small int, medium int, and big int. Okay, so all these data types stores different values. So for example, the range of int data type is minus 2 to the power 31 to 2 to the power 31 minus 1. Okay, so tiny int minus 2 to the power 7 to 2 to the power 7 minus 1, like this. Okay, big int, the largest data type to store the integer values, that is big int. So its range is highest, minus 2 to the power 63 to 2 to the power 63 minus 1. Okay, if you want to store the decimal value, for this you will use the float data type, and you will use either float or double. The difference between them is its range. Okay, so float data type can store a value which contains the maximum 24 digits before decimal, and double data type can store the value before decimal up to 53 digits. Okay, so next one is date and time data types. As you know, the date and time data type will store the value in the form of date and time. The first will date. So date will store the date in the form of YYY format. Like, and its range is 1000 to 3112 Okay, and date and time, it is the date and time combination. So in this you have to store the date in YYY format, and time in hour second format. Okay, and the time is stamp, so it looks like date and time for without hyphens. Okay, hyphens like this. Okay, so in this, there you will not use any hyphen as you use here, like this. Okay, so time stores the time in the form of HHMMSS format, and year will store a year in 2 or 4 digits. So using year data type, you will store the year in the form either in 2 digits or 4 digits. Okay, so now next one is string or text data type. So string and text data type will store the value. Uh, Data types will store the value in the form of text or string. Okay, so here you will use the character char. Okay, so here m is the number of digits, sorry, number of characters. Okay, it's a fixed length string between 1 and 255. Its range is up to 255 characters, where what is the m is the number of characters. Okay, and the varchar is a variable characters. So variable length string. So what is the difference between character and varchar? The difference between the format is same. Both are used to store the string or text, but difference between char and varchar is that it will fix the length and it will vary the length. It is a variable length. For example, suppose you have decided you have a variable like this. Sorry, a name, and type, you have decided the type is character. So here you have decided it will contain the maximum 10 characters. Okay, and next, suppose you have a name in the form of varchar. Length of this is also 10. So what is the difference between char and varchar? If you use the char variable, char data types, in this case the value of 10 character will be fixed. Okay, suppose the name is like this, EMN. So here the number of characters are 4, but you have fixed the character 10 characters. So remaining 6 characters, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 will be allotted, and it will be not useful. Okay, so here you have fixed the 10 characters length. Either you will use it or not. But in the case of varchar, if you use, so it will take only 4 characters, not 10 characters. That's why it is variable in length. Okay, so it will allocate the space which you have used, not extra. But in this case, char case, it will take extra space also. Okay, here you have decided 10 characters. Here 4 characters are allotted, but the remaining 6 characters space will also be allotted. It will not be useful. Okay, but in varchar case, you have allotted 4. You have used 4 character space. The remaining 6 characters space will be released. Okay, so this is the difference between char and varchar. Okay. Now text field with a maximum length 65,000. Its limit is 255 characters, char and varchar. But in the case of text, if you need a long text, so in this case you will use text data type. Okay, but here no need to specify the length. And the tiny text, you will use 255 characters, but no need to specify the text. Medium text, its range is large, like 100,000, 10,000 lakh, 10 lakh, 1 crore, 67 lakh, 77,215 characters. Okay, if you need one lot of text, so in this case, you will use long text. Okay, its length is too large. So, null value, if a column in arrow has no value, okay, then column is said to be null. Suppose in a field you are not writing any value, you are not storing any value, so in this case the field will be known as null value. One thing you have to make sure that null value is not equivalent to 0. Okay, what do you mean by null? Null means blank, not 0. Null means blank. If a field doesn't have any value, in this case it will be treated as null values. Okay, the comment, comment is the text that is not executed, is only for documentation purpose. Okay, so like Python, we have the comments in SQL also. For single line comment, you have to use dash with space or hash. For multi-line comment, you will use forward slash star, and here you will write down your comment and star and forward slash. Okay, so this is the introductory part of MySQL. I hope all of you have understood the introduction of MySQL. So watch this video again and again to know about MySQL. Okay, thank you students, have a nice day, be healthy, be safe.